Hello and welcome to Frank's vlog. I've tried to fix some things. Yesterday the filming was horrible. I thought I've taken uh, that background away. I thought that was a bad idea. I I left that light on. I'm not so sure about that. I moved the camera closer. I got it straightened up. I have it centered, I think, on my head instead of up there. And so I'm gradually making these changes. We'll see how it works. I think this, I'm hoping the sound will be a little bit better if it's closer. Not too sure about that. So I've made a bunch of changes. This is, oh, I didn't circle it. I got to make that a habit. This is the 3rd of January, and I think what I'll do is, there we go. That's all I'm going to do to identify these. Just 1 space 3 space 2024, but I'll eventually just go 1 space 3, 1 space 4, 2 space 5. That would be my birthday, February 5th. And I'm not even going to put the year on because who knows if I really go that far. Just assume it's that. I'm taking longer than I maybe should. So yesterday I went through a list of things that had to do with my work that I was working on. I'm not going to dwell a lot on that. I worked on it a little bit more today. I just want to tell you, well, one thing I want to get in here for sure. Terra Preta very often has pottery shards, or sherds, I get them mixed up, shards I think, mixed in, and people don't know why. I have a theory. In Venezuela, and I think in Brazil too, it's the same way, but in Venezuela, Joyce and I saw where potters made their pottery, earthenware. And it was, we asked, could we see the kiln? And people took us there, and there was nothing there. And they said, well, here's the kiln. Well, it was just open ground. They would fire their pottery in open fires. And one of the troubles with it, as the wood would collapse, it would sometimes break the pots. So I'm suspecting that those pottery shards were just there because it's the same place that the had been used or was being used often to burn pottery. I hadn't heard anyone say that yet, but I suspect that. The reason zanjas, I mentioned them, that these are what I could contribute to the discussion. Zanjas are a good way to distribute something across a liquid, across a slope, or to drain, either one. So if you've got, if part of your process involves liquid manure, a zanja would be the way to do that. That's what I'm doing out there where it got too soupy. I'm using the technique of a zanja to drain it. Pigs eat manure. Today they're just feasting on fresh goat manure mixed in with some hay, but it's the goat manure. Pretty clearly that's what they love. I noticed that before with pigs, that if you give them fresh hay or hay that's soaked in goat urine, old hay, they prefer the old hay. I think it's almost like sauerkraut to them as opposed to cabbage to people. And so my pigs getting involved in the manure pile all the time, they're changing the nature of that manure. You might say, well, I don't know if it's for the better or the worse, but it's the case. And another thing that pigs will eat is human waste, humanure, they call it. There are toilets called pig toilets in parts of the world today, and there always used to be, where pigs would eat human manure, and then they end up spreading what they eat if they're out in pasture. They spread it all out. That's something that I don't think had been talked about. And another thing, the pigs, they root in the manure pile. They root it up, they aerate it. Bones are very often found in Terra Preta. Well, that I think comes from various reasons, but one is a carcass disposal. And there are bonfires. Well, our term bonfire comes from bone fire. I don't know if I mentioned that in this venue, but I have outside that periodically they would have a real big fire to burn the bones up, and then smash them. They would actually have a mill that would smash those bones up. I mean, in say Europe, but I imagine the same was there too. So. And some suggested, well, there might have even been human sacrifice involved. Well, how do you know that those humans hadn't died and it was just a way to bury them, dispose of the carcass? Not every place has that luxury of being able to bury the dead, and cremating. It could have been there. Well, there's going to be other things. What I'm going to do on Friday is I'm going to get a whole bunch of wood chips. After that, it's going to snow. I think it'll get wet again. But that's about the driest that I can have it right now. Here comes somebody down the steps. I'm going to pause. Oh, they just left me some stuff. Probably probably cardboard to burn in the incinerator. In our furnace. I'm going to get a whole bunch of tubs full of that. Then I'll be able to experiment with burning some biochar. I've got an idea of how I can do it. I've watched so many videos of how people do it in backyards all over the world, whatever. I've got a way that I'm going to try it next. There's one other thing I'd like to say, but I guess I'll probably wait. My principal purpose for this venue, I haven't told you about yet, really. But I'll probably turn to that. I'll probably stop talking about Biochar and Terra Preta for the time being. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.